Hello and good morning to all of you. Today is 6th of May and this is economics class. This is for class 9. We are going to have a class today on globalization. We have already started with chapter number 13 in the previous class called Globalization. You have learned about what is globalization, and now we shall learn about something more about globalization. The first is globalization in India. We learn about globalization in general, what is called globalization. Now why was globalization needed in India, and when was it adopted, when was it implemented, what did it do to Indian economy? First, globalization in India. Globalization in India was adopted in July 1991. Before 1991, Indian economy was a kind of closed economy. We had not much of international trade. We had, of course, the import and the export, but we had not been allowing the multinational companies of foreign to come in India and invest. We had protected our indigenous farms and factories against such kind of competition with the MNCs, multinational companies. But in the 1991, we globalized our economy. That means we allowed the foreign companies to come in India and invest their money. The problem was our company had to compete with them, but we were compelled to do this. Why? Need for globalization. Why was globalization needed in India? The first reason is weakness of pre-1991 policies. What happened in 1991 and before, in the previous decade? What happened? Let's learn in 1980 what happened. The policy that was made by the government in 1980 was a faulty one, was proved a faulty one later. What happened was, we did not allow the foreign companies to come and compete in India. Our import was excess, export was less, our public sectors had not been performing well. Public sectors means the department which are looked after by government had not been performing well. There was a huge surge in unemployment problem. There was a stagnation. Stagnation means the country not growing. There was a very low level of economic growth. These all happened in 1980. And it is because of this reason globalization was needed. 1980 proved a very disastrous decade for Indian economy. This was the reason why we needed to globalize our economy, because there was very low level of economic growth, there was stagnation, a surge in the unemployment problem, there was a high import. Import means buying commodities from other nation. Export means selling our commodity, made in India product to foreign companies. When we sell, we always benefit, and when we buy, we lose. Because we don't buy, when we buy, the rupee is, the mode of payment is not in terms of rupee, no. The mode of payment is the international foreign exchange, which is the dollar, euro. So anyway, so we had very little foreign exchange, and because of this faulty decade was not faulty, but the policies made in this decade was faulty, and because of these wrong policies, it proved very disastrous for us, and we required globalization. That's the first reason. Weakness of pre-1991 policies. Next is major foreign exchange crisis. Now what is foreign exchange? Foreign exchange is internationally recognized currency which is utilized when we buy or when we sell in the international market. When a country sells anything to another country, or buys anything from another country, the mode of payment that we make is called foreign exchange. Like if India buys anything from, say for an example, China. India does not have yuan, no? So India will have to make the payment to China in terms of dollar. Dollar, euro, these are internationally recognized foreign exchange. So what happened was, there was a major crisis. Major crisis means the amount of foreign exchange left in India or with India was very, very little. It is said that between January and July, India was left with such a small amount of foreign exchange that was sufficient to feed India only for 2 weeks. That means with that limited foreign exchange, India could afford to buy from other countries only for 2 weeks. Such was the disastrous condition India had been facing. It had very limited foreign exchange reserve. Now the reason is because of the war of Gulf countries. There was among the Gulf countries there had been a big war, and because of this reason the price of oil increased. And you know what happens when the price of oil increases? Since oil is used in the transportation, the moment the price of oil increases, it will result in increase in every basic essentials. It will result in increase in the eatable food items, everything. The price of everything will increase. This resulted in that means the price of oil was high. That means we had to pay more money. So the international the foreign exchange that we had with us, we had to spend more in that. So we were left with limited foreign exchange because of this Gulf crisis. That's a war of Gulf countries. The international debt kept on increasing. The import became greater than the export, and it led to adverse balance of payment. We started being dependent on more import. Why? Because the production and distribution in India became very expensive. Because of the increase in the prices of the oil, buying from foreign countries had become cheaper for us. We became dependent on import, and more we started buying from foreign countries, and this led to an adverse balance of payment. That means we were buying more and we were selling less. So it led to adverse balance of payment. We should always sell more and buy less. This is what PM Modi is also saying, no? Atmanirbhar India. Atmanirbhar Bharat. That means we should be self-dependent and self-sufficient. We should produce everything that we require, so that we don't have to, or we don't require to import. We should try to export more and more. So this would lead to a positive balance of payment, but because of the more import and less export, it resulted in adverse balance of payment. That means we had limited foreign exchange and we had been spending more than what we had. So it led to adverse balance of payment, and so this was the major foreign exchange crisis. This was the reason why globalization also took place. How, I'll tell you later. Look at next, the conditionalities imposed by IMF and the World Bank. So we were falling short of foreign exchange, because we cannot produce everything that we require. India is a big nation. Say some of the commodities may not be possible to produce. Like there are some countries in the world which are landlocked, does not have sea, so they cannot produce salt. So they are dependent on the foreign countries. They have to import salt from foreign country. Similarly, there are so many commodities which every nation cannot produce, because production of those commodities in that particular country may be expensive. So buying from foreign countries may be cheaper because of the availability of the raw materials and all those. There are so many factors. So see, what happens is conditionalities imposed by IMF and the World Bank. So we were dependent on foreign countries. We had to buy more and more. Our foreign exchange had become very little. It was enough only for 2 weeks to import. So then we went to IMF, International Monetary Fund, and World Bank, so that they can help us in this time of crisis. So they promised to help us. They promised to help our economy, but under their own condition. And the condition was this, that we should liberalize our economy. We should correct or modify licensing policy. We should allow the foreign companies to come in India, and operate. We should open our market to international countries, to other countries. So MNCs were allowed. Following this condition, we were pushed to the wall. We were compelled to allow the MNCs, multinational companies, international countries to come to us and invest their money in India. So we have to open the doors of our market for the foreign countries. We have to liberalize. We globalized, and liberalization means to make easy for the foreign people to come in India and invest. That's a liberalize. And the last one is fall in Union of Soviet Socialist Republics called USSR. What happened in 1991? This USSR was disintegrated. This was one republic, but it was fragmented into several. This was fragmented. So several new republics were formed. This USSR was an important market for the consumer goods. We had been selling the consumer good to them, and we had been making money. We had been earning. But once they disintegrated, each smaller republics had their own policy, so we had to bear a big loss because of this, because of their disintegration. And so our income declined. This was also one of the major reasons why we had to globalize our economy. Hope you understood this. You need to study from the book for twice or thrice. You'll definitely understand. And listen to this audio clip, video clip for some time, twice or thrice. You'll definitely understand. And if further you have got difficulties, then please do send your difficulties. We are there to help you out. So for today, there is no assignment. Simply go through it and understand. And we shall continue it in the next class. Thank you.